people have flown in to teach you. And then we have about 7 that are dialing. And out of business leaders in Nigeria, we have another 8 business leaders in banks, in telecoms, in consulting, that will also come so that you have a broad view. But in addition to that, I have some good news. First, some internship. In addition to that, there will be no competition at the boot camp. Microsoft is supporting this way. The first position gets $1,000 US, second position $750 US, third position $500 US.
I started Python around 2016 or 2017, and actually at first I was confused because I didn't know what to use Python for. Then I came about data science. Someone like a big brother in school introduced me to data science, and seriously I fell in love with data science. But ever since I started it, I've seen some great works about it. I've seen series of challenges about it. I mean, sometimes I can just sit down and trying to solve a problem. And okay, I sleep up and I'm still dreaming about coding. You can imagine.
One of the things I've noticed about artificial intelligence in Nigeria is that it has been somewhat limited to just some key players in the industry. And the local and the grassroots levels of Nigeria have been really relegated from the field of artificial intelligence in Nigeria. So until recently I came across this data science Nigeria initiative.
How's it going?
And I can really commend what they are doing because when I was studying
web-based solution, people can click on it and drill down and realize that just
All right, welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining from. We are excited to have you all on this call today. We are ready to start the session. So let's get started. My colleagues are also on the call. Fumini, Ezekiel, and Chimoge Bukumi is also on the call. So we'll all be supporting you and working with you in today's workshop. So we trust that today is going to be really, really exciting. We'll be building up on what we started yesterday. I believe that everybody would have checked our YouTube and would have been able to just follow up on the content we shared yesterday, so that in today's class, it's going to just be a build up. And we're going to be doing that build up over and over again until Friday, where we will be sure that everybody is indeed now confident with Python programming and with the understanding of artificial intelligence. All right. So thank you once again for joining. We are excited to work with you on this journey to becoming a professional in Python programming and artificial intelligence. So thank you. Fumini, over to you.
Thank you, Lekon. So good day, everyone, and welcome once again. We'll be kicking off, as Lekon said, right from where we stopped yesterday. Right, quite briefly, we are going to be walking us through a short introduction to data science Nigeria, as we did yesterday, because we're quite aware that there are quite a number of people joining us for the first time today. And just to recap, just before my colleagues come up to start the hands-on training. Okay, all right, so let's move. So welcome once again to the Train the Teacher workshop. And About Us, Data Science Nigeria is a registered non-profit organization. And our vision is to build a world-class artificial intelligence, knowledge, research, and innovation ecosystem, right? and that delivers high impact and transformational research, business use applications, AI-first startups, employability and social good use cases. And the idea of all this is that at the end of all these outreaches, in 10 years, Nigeria becomes one of the top 10 AI knowledge and destinations with a 20% GDP multiplier impact. So here are some of our accomplishments in the last few years. We have had over 22,000 online participants in our data science courses. We have had over 200,000. These current numbers currently are in about 500,000 views of the 100 days of machine learning from beginner to expert level classes. We've also had over 3,000 hours of face-to-face free classes in data science and machine learning across the country, over 95,000 views in our 18 online classes around between March and May 2020 during the COVID-19 lockdown. Over 1 million downloads of our Artificial Intelligence for Starters ebook, which is our ebook that introduces artificial intelligence to everyone by cutting across use cases from experts across the world. Also, we have our AI knowledge box, which is a 2 terabyte hard drive that contains over 17,000 curated videos on artificial intelligence and data science, which is available across our AI communities. We're also the #1 artificial intelligence system community in Africa, built to our solution delivery network, and we won the Mathai Impact Award at Deep Learning Lab 2019 as a proof of this, as our contribution to seeing hundreds of thousands trained via online face-to-face and content development and job placement. We also won the best academic poster at the 21st ECM conference. That's the Economic and Computation Conference. It's the Conference on Economics and Computation, and where we won the best poster award among all the posters presented at that conference. Quite recently, we emerged as the only African organization to reach the be a finalist in the current X Prize competition ongoing, where we emerged as the only African finalist in the Pandemic Response Challenge, which was sponsored by Cognizant, and very, very amazing to have championed this. We also run our free classes across the country through our 30 unique platforms, online, offline, face-to-face, and even in industry use cases for taking beginners, kids and teens, intermediate to expert. The whole idea is it's an end-to-end ecosystem where everyone from a kid in primary school to a C-level executive in the top companies is being taken care of in this end-to-end ecosystem. And we also run the biggest and most competitive AI bootcamp in Nigeria, where we have international experts from across the world coming to teach the best of the best in Nigeria AI. Right here we have Emeritus Professor Thomas Dietrich, who is one of the founding fathers of machine learning in the world. He was live at Lagos last year, 2019, or 2 years ago now, 2019, for the AI bootcamp. Our 2020 AI bootcamp was a virtual edition. He was there as well due to the COVID-19 restrictions. We also run our business analytics for professional classes where professionals are trained in cutting-edge AI and business intelligence tools. These trainings run at our AI Hub. We also run free trainings at our AI Hub. These are pictures from our trainings run in 2019, where we had people learning Python and machine learning in different days of the week. We also have our AI Plus for kids and teens community, our AI Plus clubs for schools, and where we offer kids artificial intelligence and other skill sets that are cut across the whole AI range. You can get the AI book through these links. My colleagues will share the links on the chat if that will be available. Also, this book has received worldwide acclaimed recognition. This is Joshua Benjiho, who also was able to give a kind of accreditation to the book at this conference. We've also had people like Professor Kirkborn. All sorts of acclamations have really come to this book. It's a top quality book touching kids and teens across the world learning AI and data science. Also, we're working to distribute this book across teachers. This was our trainers Train the Teachers program from 2019, I believe, yes, where we distributed this book freely across schools and across teachers in attendance. So, like we shared yesterday, there are requirements for certification for these classes. Certificates will be available, but there are requirements, and the requirements are that the training sessions must be joined with the address you register so that it can be tracked and we can know that the person that registered, the registered participant, is able to, participate in the classes, and you must have at least 80% attendance across all the training sessions for this period. If you miss the class, you've missed the session, and you must complete all the daily quiz assessments. You've missed the quiz, you've missed the class. Please, as much as possible, try to make up by, being attending the other classes and completing the other assessments. So you can find our annual report here on this website, and you'll also be able to connect with us on social media across our numbers and platforms. So once again, welcome to today's training. Welcome to the Trainers platform, and welcome to Data Science Nigeria. We trust that you're going to have another wonderful experience with us today. If you have other questions and comments, you can drop them in the chat, and my colleagues and I will be there to answer. So I will now hand over to Ezekiel, who will recapping on what was taught yesterday and continue from there. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the training.
All right, thank you so much, Kumini, for that quick introduction of Data Science in Nigeria. So good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's class. So yesterday, we all learned about what programming is and also how to launch our Jupyter notebook. We also know how to launch our Google Colab. And so today, we'll be learning other things like data types, variable assignment, and other things in Python. So let me share my screen. All right. So please, can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. So I want to launch my Jupyter Lab now. So yesterday we said that there are two ways at which we can launch our Jupyter Lab. So the first thing is through Anaconda Navigator. So, but here I'm going to use Anaconda Terminal, that is Anaconda Prompt to do that. So I'm still waiting for it to finish loading. It's still loading. Then after that, I'll just type Jupyter Lab for it to be open on my browser. All right, so now I just type Jupyter Lab. Okay, so I'm waiting for it, it's still loading. I'm doing this so that we know how to launch a Jupyter Lab in case you have forgotten it. And also, since we have our different scripts, okay, if you want to open any Jupyter Lab notebook, this is the same way you are going to do it. All right, so I'm just, okay, I can just come here to see what happened, you see. Then just take your day one, it's already opened. Okay, great. So let me scroll down to what we did yesterday. I'll quickly take you over through it. So we learned about what programming language is, why we should learn computer programming, different programming languages for data science, Python, and why Python. So I'm doing this for the sake of people that are just joining now, and how to launch it. We already know difference between Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebook, and why we are using Jupyter Lab. All right, so we know how to create a cell with Jupyter Lab. So yesterday we learned how we can use Python to do any calculation, and we know different operators, arithmetic operators in Python, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponentiation, parentheses, and modulus. So, and we have different examples yesterday. So today we will continue from data type. Yesterday we also learned how we can make a comment, okay, and the importance of comment in Python code. So we learned different comparison operators yesterday. So today we'll be learning data type. What is a data type and how many data types do we have in Python? Okay, so now when you have a word or a text, for example, what is your name? How old are you? Hello world. You see that all these are text. So therefore, Python takes this data type as a string. So example, you see Lagos, mail, coronavirus, and so on and so forth. And for every text or word, you must have a quotation in it for it to be acceptable. Otherwise, Python will throw an error. So we also have another data type called integers. These are numbers without any decimal places. For example, -1, 9, 11, and so on. So we also have another data type called float. So these are numbers with decimal places. You know, for example, 3.142, 4.3, 11.7, and so on. Okay, so another data type that we have in Python is called Boolean. So anything that has true or false, okay, is called Boolean. So Python takes it as Boolean, and as you can see, it is true or false. Please mind this capital letter T and capital letter F, okay. So here's a chart that shows us different data types in Python. So in integer, for example, okay, to know whether it's an integer, you use a function called type. So if I click this one now, as you can see, it will tell me it's an integer. So Python shorten it as int, which is int. So let me give another example. So if you see type, for example, -11. So -11 is also an integer. Okay, so for float data type, these are numbers with decimal places. So example is 3.142, as you can see. So if I say, for example, type, this function type will give us the data type of that number or a text. So let me just say 96.6. As you can see, this is a float. Now for string data type, these are things in text. Okay, for example, I'm from your state. Okay, as you can see, I put a quotation here to show that this is a character, this is string. Don't forget it, please. It must be in a quotation, and that quote can be a single quote or a double quote. So as you can see, I'm from your state. If I want to know data type of this thing now, so just use type as a function and put those texts in it. As you can see, this is string. For example, another one, I want to know the type of this object. I can just put the quotation there, say, I am a man. You see, it's a string. All right. Now, what will happen if we don't put a string, if we don't put a quotation on it? So Python will throw an error. So for example, I'm from Lagos State now. If I run it now with Control Enter, you can see. So there is an error because I did not put it in quotation. So Python didn't understand what I put here. That's why it's telling me that there is a syntax error. All right, please henceforth, don't forget to put quotation for every string character. So another one is this, type, my name, for example, put it in quotation, my name. My name, sorry, my name. Yeah, you see, this is string. All right. So also, so sometimes it is common for Python user to include print to print their object. So print is a function to print a given value out. So example, you see, hello, I'm from Kano and I can speak Hausa. So this thing, I put it in quotation because it's a string data type. So I use this print function to print it out. So now if I run it now, as you can see, so it is now printed out. So if I don't use print, so the result will be in quotation, as you can see here. Look at this place here without print. But this one now, because I put print, okay, is a little bit, formatted. So as you can see, so we understand print henceforth. I can also use print to calculate something. For example, 4 plus 6, as you can see, 10. And I can even do it without print. That is 4 plus 6. Sorry, please. 4 plus 6. This is 10. It's the same thing. Either I put print there or I don't put print there. I still have the same result. Okay. Good. So I've talked about Boolean data type. So any action that results to true or false is a Boolean data type. I don't know if there is any question on the chat area. Okay. No question.
Please go on.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So now for Boolean data type, okay, the difference between a string and a Boolean data type is that Boolean has just two values, true or false. And you are not going to put a quotation when you are declaring a Boolean data type. For example, you see this place now. I want to know whether this true is a Boolean or not. So now when I run it now, as you can see, it tells me that it is bool, that is Boolean, B-O-O-L. So that is it. But now if I put quotation there and I still write the same thing, so Python will see it as a string because of this quotation, even though this is true and I put it on quotation. So that's why I'm having a string data type. But without quotation, Python will see it as a bool, that is Boolean. So the same thing with false. And as I said, Boolean also always result when you have a comparison operation. So for example, is 8 greater than 6? The answer is true. Is 6 less than minus 10? The answer is false. Is Ibadan equal to Ikeja, not equal to Ikeja? So the answer is true, and so on and so forth. So is there any question on data type? Let's not forget, we have, how many data type do we have, please, in Python? Anyone, please? I'm asking the question, please. How many data types do we have in Python? This will come out in your quiz today. 3, 4, all right. 4, okay. Thank you. 4 so far, yeah. So we have integer, we have float, we have string, and we have bool, that is Boolean. All right, great. And we have seen various examples of them. So what is a variable and why do we need to declare a variable? So in programming, a variable allows us to store a value. For example, let's say I want to be adding different ages together. So now, if I do something like this, if I do something like, okay, the age of Linda is maybe 23. The age of Lekan is 16. The age of Fumineyi is 12, for example, I run it, okay? So there is no way I can record this thing back except I put it in a variable. So variable allows us to store information into computer's memory. So now, let's say I have the age, okay? The age of the first person is 15, for example. All right, I run it. The age of another person is, let's say 16, I run it. Okay, henceforth, I can be using these variables, to calculate their ages. I will just say age 1 plus age 1 plus age 2, for example. As you see, so it's telling me that the age is 31, which is true. 15 plus 16 is 31. Okay, so now to access what is in that variable. So what is in the variable, you can see that this 15 is a value that is being stored in this variable. The name of the variable here is age 1, where as the value stored in this age 1 is 15. So do you get it now? So now another example is this. We have age 2 as a variable, and we store the value of 16 in it. That is why we can now add those variables together. So we can use print, okay, to see what is in that variable, okay. Oh, sorry, let me put age 1 there. As you can see, the age 1 is 15, and that is what Python printed out now. So I may not even use print to do that. It will still give me the same results. As you can see, this is 15. Okay, so let's say I want to know the data type that my variable has. So don't forget that age 1 is having a value of 15, and that is an integer. If you can still understand what integer is. So if I put 1 here now, that is age 1, you will see that is an integer. So let's say that I have another variable called name, and the name of that person is Fumini. Let's not forget that this is string and it must be in quotation. So I put Fumi here, I run it. Okay, this is a variable name and the value is Fumini. All right, so if I want to know the data type of this variable, I will just use type. So type is used to know the type of object that we have. So let's see, let's put name there and we run it. As you can see, it's telling me that this variable name is a string data type. Another example is where we have country. So we have country Nigeria, I run it. So I print it out, okay. And I ask what type of variable, what type of object is in this country? So now I run it and I have a string data type. So I have this class activity for you in which we do on Google Colab, and I will like you to interact with your colleagues when you see this in your assignment or home. So it is, for example, what is your name? You just assign the value of your name into this variable. How old are you? Please, you put your age in this, put the value of your age in this age variable and so on. Are you a male or a female? You answer it by declaring gender as a variable. Which state did you come from? So we want to know which state you are from. So you just put it in this state variable. What language can you speak? So just one language, please. Just try to assign it here. And that is it. All right, so now I want to show more examples on these various variables. So here I have age as 15. So I run it, I see the value. Now I want to add, because when you declare a variable, you can use that variable henceforth. So computer has memorized the value of your age. So now you can use it to do any further calculation. As you can see, 15 plus 1 is 16. So if I want to know your age last 2 years, I will just subtract the age. I will subtract it. I will subtract 2 from age. So that is age minus 2. And automatically, computer will give me the answer. So here I have other example like x is equal to 2, y is equal to 3, and z is equal to 4. So what is x plus y? So I just run it. Since I have declared the values in each variable, so I can begin to use them. So that is the answer, x minus z minus x minus y. That is the answer, then I run it. This one is raised to power. Let's not forget that Python uses double star for exponentiation operation. So is there any question, please? Age is the variable. Yes, I'm using Jupyter Lab. Yes, all right. So here now, I have z modulus y. So that is, what is the remainder when you divide z by y? So now, as you can see that z here is 4 and y here is 3. That is 4 divided by 3. What is the remainder? So that is it. And let's not forget, yesterday we talked about the div mode function. So div mode function helps us to know the quotient and the remainder altogether. So that is when you divide z, which is which is 4. When you divide z by x, which is 2, that is 4 over 2. The quotient there is 2 and the remainder is 0. So thank you. Other example is this. So it is possible you declare, many variables in one cell. So for example, I have a name, I have age, I have gender, country, all together. Separated, no, these are variables, and these are their values, and I have only equality sign, that is equal to. So this, which means that this name will correspond to this person, Jamal. Age here is 16, as you can see, all together in one cell, instead of declaring it one by one. Like in this case, you see this example, I have it individually, coded. But here, I did it all together with one cell. So Python allows for that. Somebody is raising their hand. Okay. Please, you can message on the chat room. Can one declare variable for multiplication table or the even number, I mean generating values and not manually? Yeah, it's possible. Although I don't know what you mean here, but it's possible. So we have country, okay, in this country, let me put it as Nigeria. Okay, so I run it all together. And now I use print to print each of them out so that I know what is inside it. So if I run it now, as you can see, I see Jama, I see age as 16, gender as male, and country as Nigeria. So I can also just ask it like this: what is the gender? As you can see, it's telling me it's male, and so that is how it is. Any other question? Can we write a simple mathematical equation? Of course, deep mode. Yeah, you can write mathematical operation. For example, you can use Python to solve a simultaneous equation. But in this our workshop, we may not want to go to that. But it's possible, so you can learn more on that. And you can also visit us to teach you better on that. All right. So now there are some naming convention. So when you are naming a variable, Yoruba will say that orúkọ tá bá sọmọ là ń pè ọmọ. So Python allows for having variable name, okay, anything you like, but you must follow the syntax. You must follow the guidelines. You must follow Python naming convention. So one of them is this. So all variables must begin with a letter of the alphabet. That is, you can't start a variable with a number. You can see when I was declaring mine, I never start with number, I start with alphabet. Okay, the second thing is that after initial letter, a variable name can also contain underscore or a period and or number. So what we are saying there is that, let me do an example. So after, let's say I say name, or for example, age, I can just say age, you see. They say after initial letter, it can be a letter, one letter, that is A. Okay, variable can also contain underscore, so that is, I can also add underscore to it. I can put a period, I can just say A1 is 15, for example, I run it. So Python allows for that, all right? I can also say A period 2. Python allows for that. Let's see if this one will work. All right, so this is not working. So it's not working. There's a reason for that. So because Python always use dot operation, so that is why it's not working here. All right, so but we can put a number there, like okay, 5, as you see. So I can print out the value, that is A5. Okay, 12. So let me remove this guy, a period. Okay, so other programming languages allow for that, but yeah, we see that Python is not allowing for that. All right, so we should not include any space or special character. For example, I can just say that class, for example, say class 1, okay, is equal to, we have 15 students in class 1. So there will be an error. Why? Because of this space. So Python didn't allow for a space when you are naming a variable. Please, let's not forget. And also, special character is not allowed. So for example, let's say you have hash, for example, okay? So that is special character, or let's say a question mark, for example, those are special character. So Python did not allow for that. Sorry, please, I want to check whether I have a message from my colleagues. Okay, I have 4 minutes left. Okay, I'm almost done. So here now, look at this example. We have provided you with sample acceptable variable names and some unacceptable variable names. You will see that here it follows the guidelines, but here you see we are having parentheses, which is special character. We have a space here. We have number. Number is starting a variable name here, and Python did not allow for that. So grade.test, this should work because it has a period. Let's see, grade.test. Let's make it a character, for example, U. So let's run it. Okay, so Python is not allowing for a period. So which means that we must not use a period. So, but we can use an underscore. All right, so that one is working. Please mind this period. So here we have class activities. Okay, we will send it to you after the end of this workshop. So, and also we can convert from one data type to another. So Python allows for that. You can convert from a float to an integer, from an integer to a float, from string to integer or to a float. So example is this. Let's say I have Nigerian Naira, it's 9, okay? So I want to convert it to float. So don't forget that this Nigerian Naira 9 is an integer number, okay, as you can see. So now if I want to convert it to float, I will use this function, float. Okay, so if I use this function float, so automatically it will convert it to a float data type. And now you see from integer, it's now a float by using this float. And also I can convert a float. You know that 9.345 is a float. So I can convert it to an integer by using int function, int, and put the number there, then close the bracket. So now, as you can see, now I have lost some information. So therefore, be very careful when you are using int to, when you are converting a float to an integer, please be mindful. Okay, great. So let's say that because sometimes in data analysis world, it is possible that a number looks like an integer. So here now, somebody just said age is equal to, you know, he put the quotation here. So therefore, this number automatically is in a string format. So if I run it now, so it is now a string. So now to convert this string back to the original number, that is back to an integer. So you just include int function to it and you run it. You can see the same thing. You can convert a number, a float, to a string by using str function and so on. So look at this one now. We have 179 hours. This one is string data type. But you want to convert it to integer, that will be a problem here because you see, everyone that have been converted since morning does not have any character like an alphabet, but here is having characters like ours. So therefore, it will return an error. So that is it. And I think we can also solve this one. All right, we also have logical operator. So we have 3 different logical operators, such as and, or, and not operator. So for example, if I want to know whether something is true or false, I can also use a logical operator to do that. Now, here I have minute, which is equal to 3. So I want to say that it's minute less than 7 and minute less than 1. So here, the operator and will return false when it encounters a false condition. So you see that when I declare minute as 3, yeah, I see some charts. Can we convert Boolean to integer? Yes, we can convert it, yes. you can convert Boolean to integer. Let me do one. Boolean to integer. Let's see. Let's try it. Int true. As you can see, it gives us 1 because automatically true is 1 and false is 0. So now if I say int, okay, int false. So this should be converted as 0. So I think that has answered your question, sir. Another question, can we use keyword to name a variable? No. So we cannot use any Python keyword as a variable, no. For example, you can't use print, as a variable, no. Python doesn't allow for that. Thank you for those questions. Okay, so this is the last stage. Let me quickly do it before my colleague comes in. So now the AND operator return a false when it encounters any false condition. So here I have declared my variable minutes as 3, as you can see. So I'm now asking the question, 2 different statements. The first statement is minutes less than 7, as you can see, minutes less than 7. Of course, 3 is less than 7, which is true. Now, minutes less than 1, as you can see, 3 is less than 1. So if I run it now, it's telling me it is false because it has one false condition. Okay, as you can see, minutes is less than 7. Sorry, please, let's see. Minutes less than 7. Okay, so I have a question here. All right. I think my time is over. So maybe my colleague can come to where I stop. So thank you so much. Chimage, please, can you take over? Hi, Linda.
Yeah, hello, Ezekiel. I think you should finish this module, right? Because you're almost at the end, so that I can start with a new module. So it doesn't make sense for me to just finish up the module you already. So finish up the module. Let me start with a new one.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. Minutes less than 7, for example. Let's see the results. All right. Minutes. So yeah, it's telling us it is true. Okay. Let's see another one. Minutes less than 1. This one is false because 3 is not less than 1. So now, since we have just one false, automatically this AND will return to a false. That is why we have a false here. I hope you understand it, please. So the OR operator, so what does it do? So this operator returns a true when it encounters at least a true condition. That is, once we have just a true condition, so the OR operator will return true. Let's see it in action. So we have year. Year is 12. We declare it as 12. So now we are saying that is year equal to 12. Let's not forget, this is a comparison operator. That is double equality sign. So I can put a space here. So now is year equal to 12? Everybody will say true. Okay, good. Now is year, is 12 less than 10? Everybody will say what? False. Because now we have just one true condition. Therefore, all the 2 conditions here will return as true. Let's run it. Okay, there should not be space. All right. So let's not forget, it's possible you make an error when you are coding in Python. So what you do is you read the error statement and then you correct your error accordingly. So God help us to see our be able to know where we go wrong. Otherwise, Google is your friend. Okay, so this is true. Now, the last one is the NOT operator. So what not operator does is that, so it negates our statement. Are you a male? So it will change to a female. So let's see it here. Let's see it here. You see that we declare minute as 10, all right? Now, we know that this minute, okay, which is 10, is greater than 5, okay? And the answer will be true. But now we have negated true to false. So if I run it now, it will tell me it's false. Now, we know that anything that is not true will always be a false. That is why not true here is returning false. And also, when we negate a false, of course, we have true, and that is it. And we have come to the end of yesterday's material. Thank you so much. I don't know if you have any question before my colleague take over for me. The characters are very tiny, I cannot see them. All right, thank you for that answer. You can zoom it, please. If there's no question, Chimage, please take over. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Ezekiel. Let me share my own screen right now so we can start with today's class. Okay. Okay, please, can you see my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, everybody. I'll be continuing from where Ezekiel stopped. So for today, so this is a new session. So for today's session, we'll be looking at other data types we can have in Python for string manipulation and data structure in Python. So at the end of this session, you should know how to manipulate. Ezekiel has put us through string. Now let's see how to manipulate string in Python, create data structure such as list, tuple, and the rest. Now, and also look at how to work with lists and tuple and the methods the methods they come with, right? So now we'll be looking at list, string, tuple, numbers, dictionary. So these are other data types you can also have in Python, which you can use to store your values. Now, string manipulation. So a string is an ordered sequence of character. So there are two keywords you need to take in here. They are ordered and they are characters, right? So a string, for example, a string, when you say, hi, welcome to string manipulation. So that's a string. This time around, we're no longer talking about a single character. We're talking about sentence, a string, a sentence here. So, so for example, now we have, hi, welcome to string manipulation in Python. So this is the example of a string. Hello, our super teachers. So string, as string, you know, Ezekiel has taught us right now that strings come in quotation. It's either a single or double quotation. So if you are declaring a string, you have to put it in a quotation, right? Okay, so let's see basic printing of strings. So we have a text. So you can see that this one is in single quotation, right? So this one is in single quotation. We have, so I want you to notice something here. So when you are declaring or you are writing a string, so you write the first one. For example, we have 1 here and we have 2. The second one is going to override the first one. Like example, if we run this code, if we run this cell now, you will see that only 2 is coming out as the output. Why is 1 not also coming out as the output? Because the 2 is overriding the 1. So for you to get, so if you have so many things to output, if you have so many string values to output, and you want all of them to show at once, it means you are going to use a print statement, right? So you put it in print. Ezekiel has also talked about print. So if, for example, here we say print 1, print 2. So when you use print, whatever you put inside that print is going to come out as an output. So for more examples, you can see where we are using our print. So let's look at this particular cell. we are printing a new line. So what is a new line in Python? A new line means you are moving to the next line. How do you implement new line in Python? By using a / and n. If you look at this code right here, you will see this is a new line. Then we have a / and we have n following that / before you see, notice how this is on another new line. So when you run this cell too, you will see that, notice how this is on another new line, came to a new line. So the same thing applies to the next cell. Here we are trying to print a tab. So tab means give space. Tab gives space 8 times. And tab is represented using a / and a T. So look at this print we have here. This is a tab. Then we have a / and then we have a T. And then we have our next statement, which says, notice how this prints with space between. So when we run the code, you can see how our result came out. We have a space here. So this is where our tab was applied. So when you want to print a new line, remember you have / and n. You want to print a tab, remember you have / and T. Okay, so now let's look at indexing and slicing. Right, what is indexing and slicing? So every variable you are declaring, let's see this way, that it is stored in memory somewhere in Python, right? It is stored somewhere in memory. So every string you are declaring is stored somewhere in memory. So let's call this memory boxes. So we have this box, different boxes, and whatever you are declaring is stored each in a box, right? So let's use hello as example. So we have this character, hello. So this hello, you have declared hello. So this hello you have declared is going to be stored in memory somewhere in Python. And when Python is storing, Python starts with index 0. Python does not start with index 1. That's why we have 0 here. If you look here, we have character and we have index. And you can see that H, which is our first character here, is assigned to index 0. That's because Python starts with index 0 and goes that way. So now, what if I have declared my character, hello, and then I want to index that hello, or I want to go to a particular value in this cell? Maybe I want Python to print only E, or I want Python to print only O for me. That is where indexing and slicing comes in. Okay, so now let's say, for example, we have word equal to hello, print word, we printed hello. Now I want to print the first letter of hello, which is H. How do I do that? I'm going to index my word, which is equal to hello. How do you do that? You do that using a square bracket. So your string here is the word, right? So you write word, and then you put a square bracket. Inside your square bracket, you put the index of the number you want to reference to. Let me take this again. Example, I have word. Okay, let's do another. Let me use another example here. Let me insert. Let me use another example here. So here I have my name. I have my name. It's Linda. And then I want Python to print. I want Python to print N, just the letter N for me. Now, it's my name that is Linda has been saved in memory somewhere in Python. So in the indexing, Python is going to store L in index 0, Y in index 1, N in index 2, D in index 3, and A in index 4. Now I want to reference N. So now if I'm referencing N, which index do you, so for me to reference N, the first thing I will do is I'm going to type the name of my string, which is name. That's the variable that I did, is name. Then I'm going to put a square bracket, right? I'm going to put a square bracket and put the index of the letter I want to print, which is N. So if I decide to count, I'm going to have 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2, which is N is at index 2. So I'm going to put 2 inside there. So I'll run. You can see that N is printed out. So that is how you index in Python. So you can, okay, so this one is also referencing to Word. So we are printing the third index, which is, if we go to Hello, the third index is 0, 1, 2, and 3, which is L. And that's why L is printed here. Okay, I hope that is understood. Is there any question on this? I'm looking at the, okay, somebody said, what is the relevance of indexing? Yes, I told the relevance of indexing is you might have so where you will see the more relevance of indexing is when we come to lists. The time when we come to list, where you will have so many, because you know, list can accommodate so many things. You can store so many values in lists. I can decide to, okay, I'm storing my friend's name in a list, and I have my friend's name like Ezekiel, Fumini, Leko, and I want to print the name of one of, maybe I want to print out Leko name. I cannot come and print the entire list. I need to print only Leko. And for me to print out Leko, I have to index my list. So index is used to point to a particular value. Indexing is used to point, or it's used to fetch out a particular value in your variable you have declared. So yeah, please repeat the last string of L. Okay, so here it says repeat the last, remember this is L here, right? This is L here, and L is coming from hello. L is coming from hello, right? And we did world 3. That means we are indexing index number 3. So how do you count it? H is index number 0, E is index number 1, the first L is index number 2, and then we have 3, which is also L, and that is why Python printed out L for you here, right? Okay, so moving on, we also have reverse, right? We also have reverse indexing. So, you know, this time around, we started from 0 and we are moving forward. How about moving backward? Now, backward is like, the way it's backward, that means you're starting from the last letter you have in your word, or the last letter of your variable. For example, here now, hello, 0, the O there is going to have a reverse index of -1. L is going to have a reverse index of -2. The same way, so, you know, -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on. So what is reverse index used for? I mean, I have one long word. My friend is going to America and I'm going to follow her, you know, and I want to get the last letter. Do I need to be counting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 until I get to the last one? No, but because I have known that in Python, there is something they call reverse index. And I know that the last letter or the last word or the last value always have the -1 or -2, you know. So what do I need? If I need to get the last word from my values, I'm going to reference -1. If I need second to the last one, I'm going to reference -2, like that. So for example, now we have word -2, which means this is -1 for O, the -1, -2 for L, and that is why it printed L for us here. You can see this one, -5. So what's our -5? This is -1, this is -2, this is -3, this is -4, this is -5. So this can be 0 and it can be -5 too. You can see, so -5 also gave us H. Can you hear me, please? Someone said network fluctuating. I hope it's not from my end. Please, if you can help hear me, you drop a yes, please. Let me make sure it's not my network. Okay, thank you. So, and that's so the way we have forward index, the way we also have backward. So backward is mostly used to fetch the last letter, the last value, the last items you have on your list or your variable or anyone. Just start counting from -1 and start coming upward. We know that when you are counting in negative, you start with -1, -2, -3, and then you move, okay? So now let's look at slicing. So the way we now have indexing. So index is normally used to fetch one value. If you see now we are indexing, right? We are just returning just one output. We are just returning one output. What if I want to return a pattern? I want to return more than one. I want to return a series. What do I do? That is where slicing comes in. Please, going to put the index number ourselves. Okay, well, that is where I know just asking whether you're going to put the index numbers ourselves. Well, it depends on what you are doing. When you get to the level of writing functions, right, you might not need to be putting those index number yourself. But at this level that we are learning the basics. Yes, you just put the index number yourself to get what you want to do. So default objects in Python cannot be used as well. Okay, let's move on, please. Slicing. So slicing is used to return more than one item, a series or a pattern of item. So how does slicing work? So this, we call this the syntax for slicing. We have start, then we have a column. We have stop, we have a column and half step. So let's explain this. So start is your starting index. So the starting index directly corresponds to where your slice will start, right? We'll see how this works. Then stop is your stopping index. And this stopping index is not inclusive. I will explain what I mean by is not inclusive. And then the next step is how many steps do I move? Example, now I'm trying to return a pattern, or I'm trying to return a series, or I'm trying to return so many things. Do I want to jump some things? That is where step comes in. Maybe I want to return 1, but I don't want to return 2. I want to return 3, I don't want 5. I don't want 5. That is where step comes in. Now let's see, for example, I have this example here, alpha. Alpha is equal to A, B, C, E, F. Now, I want to return, I don't just want to, if I do example now, if I do alpha, so please, a question, if I do alpha 0, I'm looking at the chart now. If I do alpha 0 and run this cell now, what am I going to have, please? Please drop on the chat box. If I do alpha 0, look at our alpha is A, B, C, D, E, F. If I do alpha 0, what am I returning? A, okay, yeah, A. So that's so correct, yeah, A. But then, okay, let me run it so that, yeah, can see we have A. But this time around, I don't want to return only A. I want to return A, B, C. This time around, alpha 0 cannot help me anymore because the 0 is pointing to A alone. So this time around, I want to return A, B, C. That is where my slicing will come in. So remember our slicing index, we have the start, we have a column, we have the stop, we have a column. The step comes in if you want to move step ahead. If you don't want to move any step ahead, you can have your start and your stop only. Okay, so now to return A, B, C, so my A is index 0, so definitely I need a 0. I'll put my hyphen, I'll put my, I'll put my column, sorry. So now after putting my column, now I'm going to return, I want to return A, B, C, right? And we just said here that our stop index is not inclusive. That means any number here you put as your stop, the index that number is pointing to is not going to be outputted or is not going to be displayed. Let's see what I put 3 here. Now I put 3 here. Remember that my A is 0, my B is 1, my C is 2, my D is 3. Now let's run this code. I have A, B, C, but then I have 0 to 3. Why is D not printed since 3 is pointing to D? Is because that your stop index is not inclusive. So whatever is your stop index is not going to be printed. So what if I put a 4 here, please, will D be outputted here? So if I put a 4, if I put a 4 now, the way I have it, I have a 4. Will I have D among the outputs? Please, yes or no? Type on the chat. Let's see. Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yes, I'm going to have a D. So you can see now. So I'm going to have a D because D is for 3. So the same thing. Okay, you can see the same thing here. 0 to 4 prints A, B, C, D. Okay, see another one we have. It means anything can be your starting. For here, our starting is not 0, right? Our starting is 2. So any point can be your starting. So we are starting from 2, which means we are starting from C because 2 points to letter C. Remember 0, 1, 2. So we are starting from 2, and that is why we have a 2 here, and then we have a D because 4 points to E, and your stop index is not inclusive. So E is not inclusive. Okay, now moving on. Okay, so moving on. So this is how you slice. The same thing, we are doing the same thing here. Okay, in this last one, we applied step. If you look this last, okay, so there is something to point here. Okay, so see how this one came. We have 2, we have a column, and then we have nothing. So what you are telling Python is, I don't have a stop index. So print anything that comes after my second, print anything that comes after my first index. My first index here is 2, and then I have a hyphen. I don't have anything anymore. So I'm telling Python, I don't feel like having any stop index. So anything that follows my first index, print it out for me. So our first index is 2, which is a C. So it's going to print a C and print anything that comes after that C. And that is why we have C, D, E, F. If you look at this one, my starting index, there is nothing. So I'm telling Python, I don't have any starting index. So start from the beginning and stop where my stopping index is. I have a stopping index here, which is 2. So Python will come and print A, B, and it will not print C. Remember, C is at index 2, which is a stop index and which is not inclusive. Please, I hope this is very, very understood and this is well explained. So looking at the last one here, we have a step. I have a start index, I have a stop index, and then I have a step. So which means I'm telling Python to be going 2-step, be going 2-step. So Python will come and print A, and it will go B and print C. So it will print A, which is 0. It will not print B because it's going to count 1, 2, and stop at C and print C. It will count 1, 2, stop at E and print E. The same way, after counting F, there's nothing that comes. So it's just going to print A, C, E, Ace. Okay? All right. So any question, please, on indexing and slicing? Okay, I understand this slicing perfectly. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so let's move on. So let's look at basic string method. So methods are action you can call off an object, usually in the form. So methods are actions you can, objects are, let me say, our data like string, like integer, like lists. They all have methods which you can call to perform some actions for you, right? And for you to call a method, you put a dot and then the method name, and then close it with a bracket or a parenthesis in order to call that method, just like we have here. So if you want to see methods, if you want to print out the method, you can use Shift Tab, right? When you press Shift and press. So when you, like now, example, we have basic dot. So basic means, for example, I will have basic, hello world, I'm still a beginner Pythonista, you know. So this is a string. Now I want to call the methods of this string. I'm going to write basic dot. If I press shift and tab, all the method that is associated with this basic is going to be listed out for me here, just the way you are seeing it here. So, and that's how you call your method. Now let's look at some method that can be useful, or you know, some basic method you can use. So we have upper. Upper is a method. What does upper do? It will change your string to uppercase, just like we have here, basic dot upper. So if I decide to erase this, I've said, okay, basic dot, I'm pressing my shift and my tab. So, okay. My is okay. And I run. Okay, so is because I didn't run this. I need to run this first. Enter. And okay. Oh, sorry, this is a lower. I hope I'm okay. Yeah. So you can see that everything. So upper is used to change your character to uppercase. The same thing applies to lower. Lower will change all your string or character to lower cases. Then capitalize. Capitalize is going to, you know, capitalize your first letter. You can see hello. The H here is in capital, right? So it's going to capitalize the first letter of your sentence or your string. Title is going to capitalize first word, the first letter of each word you have in your sentence. Example, hello world. If you look at, you see that the first letter of each word I have in this sentence is capitalized. Hello, the H is capitalized. Word, the W is capitalized, and so on. That is what title is used for. Now, split. Split is used to split your sentence. We have this sentence as one. So we have this sentence. So now we are splitting it. So once you split it, Python, when you use split on a sentence, Python is going to split down words for word, every character for, or every word for words, not character, every word for word. So example, hello will stand at its own, word is going to stand at its own, the comma will stand at its own, and so forth. Okay, so now print formatting. Now I hope this method, so method is just this different method of a string that you can, or of any data variable actually you can use to perform some actions, right? Okay, so now let's look at print formatting. So what is print formatting? So different ways you can format, or different ways you can output, because you might have a way you want to output something you have declared. So you need to format the way you want to output, or the way you want to output come out. So for example, I have username equals to newbie. I have this password. So now print, for example, now we have print welcome. We have this curly brace here. So this curly brace is what we call format here. So it's used for formatting a string. So what this cell is going to interpret is going to print welcome. It will see this curly brace. It will know that, okay, the person writing this code is trying to format something. It will keep going. And your password is, it sees another curly brace. Okay, there's another formatting that will be going on. Then you come here and you declare your format. So format is also a method of string. Dot format. Now, inside your format, you put in what should be here and here. So you can see inside this format, we have username, password, which means username is equal to newbie, and this is our password. So when you print this, it's going to say welcome username, which is newbie, and your password is password, which is being represented in this curly brace. So anything you put here is going to assign it here. anything you put here is going to assign it here after you have called your format method on the variables you have declared, right? So see another example, we have learn, action is equal to learn. Then print, the format needs to another format. Then I'll now come and tell Python, use this thing inside format method to populate my curly braces. So, and what is it? Username is equal to newbie. So Python is going to print the newbie needs to learn. So the newbie, which is a username, needs to learn. Learn is equal to action here. Remember, we declared action equal to learn, and we are using our variable we declared here. So, and that's it. So that another way you can do that, you can come in different way, print another format here needs to, that's this place, we are declaring a variable inside our curly braces. So the A needs to be B. So inside my format bracket, I declare what my A is. My A is equal to username and my B is equal to action. I put A and B inside here, and now I'm declaring the A and B here. So remember that username is equal to newbie and action is equal to learn. So Python is going to say the newbie needs to learn. Okay, is this clear? Any question? I'm looking at the chat room. Okay, yes. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so you can try this, you can experiment this, is very explanatory, right? So now we also talk at the same way you can format your string, you can also format numbers. You can format number. So the number is you still use your format. So just I want you to just pick one thing. This curly brace is for formats, right? So anytime Python sees this curly brace inside a sentence, it knows we are trying to format. So the number is dot, the way we call dot format up here, dot format equals to num, and this is our num. So Python is going to print the number is this, the same way we have here. So see what we have, see something new we have here. So this is going to round up your number to one decimal place, right? So I'm telling Python, this code is format this to one decimal place. So see how it was declared here. So I'm formatting to one decimal place by putting .1f. I'm formatting to one decimal place. So inside your curly braces, you have a column, you have a dot, and then you have the number you want to format it to. The same thing, we are formatting to 2 decimal places here, and then we are formatting to 3 decimal places here. Okay, this is for 4 decimal places. So you can insert that format inside your curly braces, and then here you call your formatting method on your variable. So, and this is how you format numbers, okay? Now let's talk about input and output function, right? So we also have input and output function in Python, because sometimes you want your user to input something. You want to ask your user to input something. So to input a variable or anything in Python, you use the Python keyword called input, right? So the same way you use print to output, we all know we use print to output. The same way you use input to input anything you want inside Python. So to declare your input, have example, have your name equals to input. What is your name, right? If I run this now, let me run it. You can see what came out. What is your name? I'm now going to type Linda and enter. So it now tells me, because here I say print name, it now tells me that my name is Linda. So how do you declare that? By using the keyword input. Name equals to input. Then this is just to, to make it more interactive. You're asking your user to input your name. Okay, so this is more example we have for input. Input, what is your name? Name. So here, Ezekiel has went through type. We all know now what type is used for. Type is used to print out the type of our variable. So if I print out type name, my name is obviously a string. For example, Obeyemi is a string. So, and that is what this code here is doing. So here we also have, so we are formatting what we are printing out here. So input, what is your name? After imputing what is my name, I want my name to be outputted in a particular format. So you can see this F here. This is another way you can also format. So by starting with F, when you put a F, then you start, you can see our curly brace is also here. So this curly brace, you cannot avoid it when you are trying to use your format. You are trying to format how your output comes out. So you can see this F signifies format. So format, my name is, inside your curly braces, you put the name, okay? Another one is print, name is this type name. So Opeyemi is type of string. So that is what this cell is trying to explain to us. Okay, and this is another example. Impute here, impute what's your name, how old are you, and what is the name of your state, okay? And what is the name of your state? And you format what you want your output to be, okay? So moving on. So we have more examples, the same way. So let's look at lists. So we've talked about string, we've talked about integer. So let's look at lists, right? So what is a list? Okay, yeah. So no, sorry for that. So let's look at list. So list is another data type we also have in Python, which you can use to store variables. So lists, one thing with a string is you are declaring a string or you are making a sentence, but list can accommodate so many things. List can accommodate different data types all at once. So we've learned that string as sequence of characters, right? We learned that string as sequence of characters. Similarly, list as sequence of objects. They can hold variables of data. And okay, so let's just go to the main thing. So to create a list, we use a square bracket again. You can see here we have one empty list. So this our list is not containing anything. A list is equal to, you can see our square bracket open and close. And that is how you create a list. So this is the basic syntax for creating a list. So, and when you type list, the type of the list is going to appear. So this is the second cell we have. This our list contains values inside it. So we have declared a list of 1, 2, 3. So declare a list, you use commas inside your square bracket, 1, 2, 3. So this is a list of 1, 2, 3. Here we printed that list out, right? So this is another example. We have A equals to 100, B 200, C equal to 300. So my list is equal to A, B, C. So these three values we have here, we have declared them as a list, okay? By printing A, B, C, by putting A, B, C inside the square bracket, we have declared it as a list. If I decide, let me print it out, I can have my list 3. So let's run this and run this one. Okay, sorry, I need to, okay. You can see it has printed 100, 200, 300. Okay, so this one is list of integers. List of integers is simply list that contains only integers because everybody inside ages is integer, 21, 23, 16, they are all integers. So that is what, for the fact they are list of integer doesn't mean their data type is integer. The data type is still a list. That's why the data type is bringing out list for us here, okay? So list of integer just means list contain that all the values are all integer. This one is list of floats. We all know what float is. This one is list of string, have Lagos, Ibadan, Osun, Kwara. So list of string. So how about when we have now list of everything? So you can see list of everything. We have integer, we have string, we have a float, we have Boolean. So list can contain anything you want. You can declare it inside the list and it's acceptable. Okay. So nested list. Nested list is you can have a list inside a list. Okay. You can have a list nested inside another list. For example, see this new list. I want you to notice these last two square braces. I want you to notice these last two. So this first one corresponds. So this is the first list. It has 1, 2, 3. Then inside this list, I now have another list that made up of A, B, C. Okay, so this is a nested list. So this second one is for this, and this last one is the main one covers this. So which means inside this list we have two. We have the main one and one nested inside. So yeah, so the same way inside here we have a list inside a list. So this is the first list ending here. So inside this list we have two more lists, 1 and 2. We have the one for Benue, Kogi, Kwara, Nasarawa, Niger, Plateau, and we have the one for Ekiti, Lagos. So just notice this square brackets where they open and close. This one opens here and closes here. Once you click one, the other one will turn to green too. If I click this one, notice this one, I click the one down. You can see this one is green, which means is the closing. If I click this last one here, this one is green, which means the opening and closing. And that is what we call a nested list. So we're going to stop here for today. It's almost 7 o'clock, okay? We'll continue tomorrow, but before then, any questions? Yes, like array, okay. So how do you reference a list inside? So we're going to talk about that tomorrow, please. How do you reference a list inside a list? We'll talk about that in details tomorrow, okay? Yeah, please. Okay, and that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the class, or you learned something, you really added value to yourself today. Please, can you drop a yes, 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 yes. So let's know we're on the right path, okay? Okay, yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone. So over to you, Fumini. Please, over to you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
So you can leave your screen up while we just round off.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Okay. Right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We continue tomorrow. So I'm seeing somebody asking, how did they get this data to practice with? So the notebook won't be released, but the video will be available for your review. Also, attendance is taken automatically. Every minute you spend on this call is recorded. So we'll close here and we'll continue tomorrow. So thank you, everyone, for your time. The class activities and the quiz will be shared on the WhatsApp group and via email. So see you tomorrow, same time. Have an awesome evening. Thank you very much.